Share screen. What does that mean? Share your screen. I don't think I want to share my screen. Oh, it's the sharing screen. Okay. Play a video. Oh, that was loud. Uh-oh. Hey, does anybody know if there's a way to put in a backdrop like you can on Zoom?
Rob, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes, I hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Do you hear me? Hang on, my volume's on. I don't think you can hear me. Can you hear me? If you could hear me, you'd answer. So you can't hear me if you're not answering.
Hear you, Rob.
Oh, you can hear me. All right, good. Do you know, is there a way to put a backdrop?
Is that what we're worried about? I think we have a little delay going on here.
Oh.
Oh, yes, you can. Can he put a backdrop on? This is so delayed. There's no way for us to live stream a. Should I turn this off while I'm?
You're okay for me. I can barely hear you. You're fine.
Testing.
Perfect.
Okay, that might have been a little bit better.
Can you hear me okay? Am I loud enough?
I can hear you all right. I think our issue is we're having a delayed playback of me talking.
Oh, so you can. I hear you fine.
Okay, we're hoping this is real time now. Hey, Rob, can you say something again?
Hello, how are you? You are a joy. I love your website. My kids, we were on it the other day. They love the website. They think it's so
Okay, I think we're
cool.
good.
Wait, I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking about how cool you are. Oh, and my last name is pronounced Keenan.
I
Just
was
so you know.
wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I blame my father, Keenan, for whatever reason.
That sounds good. I can hear him. Yeah. Okay. So when are we going live? Like 2 minutes or something? Oh, we're live. Oh, okay, cool. Didn't know that was all live. So should we go ahead and get started? Okay, cool.
It is a live stream, apparently.
Yeah, apparently we are live.
Perfect.
So Rob Koenen here with us from Box Water, who is sponsoring Goodfair's Earth Day celebrations today. We're really excited to have Rob here. Rob brings a ton of experience, wisdom, humor, a whole bunch of different things to the sustainability space. And personally, Rob is one of the people I most enjoy speaking with. So I'm excited to share a conversation about sustainability between Rob and I with y'all.
And
So
the feeling
Rob,
is mutual.
well, I will ask you to sort of start us off just by sharing with the Goodfair users sort of the story of boxed water. We've been talking all day with y'all about Goodfair and what we do and why we do it. And Boxed Water is a super aligned organization with ours. And so would love to hear about y'all's story, Rob.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for having me here. I always love your brand. I love disruptive brands that are trying to do good and take on the status quo, which is pretty much what Box Water is. So Box Water is better, has been around for about 10 years. We are a sustainable alternative to plastic water bottles and aluminum cans. We purposely call ourselves better and not best because we all know refillable is the best. But everyone should be walking around with their refillable and refilling. But right now, there's over 70 million bottles being produced every year. Only 9% of them are being recycled. Now, that's translating into having 9 million tons of plastic pollution going in the ocean every year. Now, let me just take you through a little journey on that. So 9 million tons go in the ocean. It takes that plastic about 700 years for it to break down. And as it breaks down, it starts to resemble food for other fish. And as a result, there's thousands of fish that are dying and birds dying of starvation with full bellies. So not only is pollution bad, but it's also killing our wildlife. And I say 700 years, and it's just another stat, and we keep moving on. But I want to take a hard stop and just say, think back what 700 years really means. I mean, I'm talking if Leonardo da Vinci was drinking a bottle of water, and on average, people use bottles for about 15 minutes. So if Leonardo da Vinci was drinking a bottle of water, it would just be breaking down now. Mind-boggling. So about 10 years ago, we came up with this brand called Boxed Water is better to take on plastic pollution, to take on big soda. The water itself is great. It is award-winning. It's a reverse osmosis process. We have an 8-step process to take out all the impurities. We've won award from a number of different taste testers saying it's super pure, pH is super clean. And we just, for Earth Month, have been rolling out new flavors. We just came out with grapefruit. It's even better with grapefruit. It's even better with cucumber. And we've got blackberry and which I already drank, and we've got lemon as well. And all this information I'm saying you can find at boxedwaterisbetter.com, and please do. So the other thing that I'll do is just talk briefly about what we've done. So we're great. We were coming out. We didn't know what we were doing. We had coming on, taking on Aquafina, taking on Dasani, taking on Fiji. The other thing I'll throw out there, just because it's just mind-boggling, because you don't think about it. I was plastic blind before I started looking into this. How insane is it that we take water out of Fiji Islands, ship it on huge boats. Think of the carbon footprint of all those tankers coming over to drink water in America and all the other countries. It's mind-boggling that we do this to ourselves. So we practice what's called near source filling, which means we've got filling facilities and on the West Coast, in the Midwest, and we're planning on building some on the East Coast to reduce our carbon footprint. Everything we do is to reduce our carbon footprint. The box itself is made from 92% renewable material. So paper obviously comes from trees. You can plant more trees. You can't plant oil. Aluminum is made from a finite resource called bauxite. And they strip mine the Amazon and smelt it to make this bauxite into aluminum. You can't put that back in the ground. So we are made from primarily trees, 92%. Even the cap is made from a plant-based oil that comes from trees, the waste of trees from the paper industry. So when you make newspaper out of trees, there's a whole bunch of waste. We were able to make plastic caps out of that. And so that's like the product and the idea. And then when you think about Disruptor, the other thing that we do, we don't have a lot of money. We don't pay any celebrities. What we decided about 4 years ago is to make trees our celebrities. So we are a 1% for the Planet company. We partnered with another one called a nonprofit called National Forest Foundation. And we plant 2 trees every time you post a picture of this box on social media, completely for free. So we have, I'm proud to say we've planted over 1,100,000 trees in the last 4 years in our national forests, not based on what we did, but based on what our community has done.
That's amazing.
And that's cool. And that's my story as far as I know. I'm sorry to be long-winded.
No, absolutely not. Everything about y'all's story is exciting. I think it's really cool to think through how every company started somewhere. And we've talked about before how Goodfair is younger in our journey than Box Water, but how we still have so many areas that we can relate as companies. And I think that's what makes this idea of being on a team together, being collaborators in a space, so exciting. There's so much to learn from y'all on our end, and there's so much for y'all to learn from us on your end. So I really think it's so crucial to advancing sort of this common mission, this common goal that we have, that people like Box Water and Goodfair can get together like this. Yeah,
I totally agree. And it's funny. It is funny because we're both taking on established businesses, and we were talking earlier. I mean, we're 10 years in, but we're still learning every day, and every day there's a new situation because there is no roadmap for removing plastic from the world. And just like with you, there is no roadmap that you're following to say, hey, let's tip the fashion industry on its ear and start reselling on social media. And so so we can learn to build roadmaps along the way of surprises, as well as learning what will we do different.
So Rob, tell me, this is a question you and I have chatted about before, and I think we've both had to face this head on in our day-to-day roles. But what do you say to the person that tells you that sustainably sourced lifestyles are too inconvenient?
Oh my, yeah. I tell them, what are you going to leave for your children and your children's children? So I'm old, so I have a good. I tell them to make the effort, but what I see going on is that the younger generation for sure gets it, and we've done market research just on Google that shows that when you hit about 50, 55, they think, hey, recycling's enough, recycling's fine. Why should I change? And so we use education to build awareness to say, right, recycling's not enough. 9 million. We've been doing recycling since 1974. 50 years we've been doing this, and we get an F-. 91% aren't being undone. So you have to keep repeating the message to say there. And we spent the first 7 years spreading awareness around plastic pollution and saying there's a problem. But yeah, plastic is cheap and it's durable, and that's why it's around. But you have to just keep your voice going to say that there is a problem, and then you use friends. Like we don't have any marketing money, but I mean, like this today, Goodfair, what you're doing. You find like-minded people that help you and believe in what you're doing. Like we're with Rag and Bone, we're with AG Jeans. We just announced that Alaska Airline is going to be getting rid of their plastic and switching to boxed water, which is
That's
insane.
really exciting.
It's like 20 million bottles. 20 million bottles are not going to be made because of what they did.
Wow.
And by the way, plastic is about I don't know, 30% more expensive. So multiply 30 cents times 20 million bottles. That adds up pretty quickly. So people have to believe, and it's pretty clear now that there's a problem, and it's not just about a P&L. It's not just about profit and loss. It's also about doing what's right for the planet. The good news is you have to follow the consumer, and the consumers are saying this is important to us. People are looking at products through the lens of sustainability. And that's what I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, but that's what you need to do. I sat down, you have to use data in order to get people to be convinced. So more importantly, when you think about the boxed water business, I can't tell you how many times I sat in front of buyers at grocery stores who pull out their spreadsheets and say, well, my plastic business represents 90% of my profits. We're doing great. Why would I want you? And so, and those are his numbers, but those are looking in the rearview mirror. So I had to come up with here's the future. Here's what millennials are looking for. Here's what if you don't do this, you're going to be caught behind. And I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 said, I'm not interested, but one did. And then the other one started seeing the results, and then the other one did, and then the other one did. And so you got to get that one wedge and build off of it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about this in different ways before, but just this whole idea that, people are hard to, it's hard to convince someone to see a problem until they really see it, until it affects them directly. And the fact that, unfortunately, with a problem like this, with a problem that is our earth, our greatest resource, by the time you can see it, it's too late.
Yeah.
So, it's a challenge that we both face in the sustainability space.
Well, tell me your analogy, because I love it. I wanted to steal it. I'm not gonna.
I took this analogy to Rob a few weeks back, and it was something I've shared with my dad before. So, Dad, if you're watching, here it is again, because I know you didn't listen the first time. But Goodfair's based in Houston. I grew up here, so my parents still live here, and we had a basement growing up, which is not super common in Houston. But as y'all may know, Houston gets a lot of crazy weather, particularly hurricanes. And so there was this one hurricane in particular where the water, our house didn't flood, but our whole basement filled with water, and our sump pump didn't work. So it didn't pump the water out, and all the equipment downstairs was totally shot, and the basement water was rising up closer and closer to actually the first floor of our house. But we didn't know what was happening because we never go in the basement. And so we had this huge problem right below our feet. We were living our lives normally. We didn't change anything we did because we didn't know the problem was there. And one day we found the problem, and it was pretty close to when, if we had maybe not opened that door for another couple of weeks, it would have been too late. The whole bottom floor of our house would have flooded. And there would have been nothing we could have done about it. So I use that analogy to sort of create a picture of what Rob and I were just chatting about, this idea that just because we didn't see the problem didn't mean that it wasn't there. And something as simple as looking down in the basement every week would have allowed us to catch that problem sooner and do something about it, instead of sitting around and waiting for it to get so bad that the cost of repairing it was insurmountable. So I think it's a helpful vision.
So now every time I write her, I say, by the way, did I mention I was from Houston and my house almost fell down? And by the way, if your dad is watching, you should be extraordinarily proud. She is smart, quick, and I'm gonna adopt her at some point. She's gonna be my daughter.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, so I have something that you mentioned earlier stuck with me too. I think Boxed Water does an amazing job of marrying planet and profit. And I want to talk a little bit more about that idea as we talk about being disruptors in the sustainability space. So I need to shout out Rob and Box Water a little bit. He mentioned they're 10 years old. So Box Water really came about and started when sustainability and being climate conscious was not nearly as trendy as it is now. They have been a part of this revolution that has made a generation that truly cares about making a difference for our climate. And so when I talk about marrying profits and planet, I'm talking about creating a company like what Box Water has done, where the heart of what they're doing is, and hopefully the heart of what we're doing too at Goodfair, what we're trying to do is creating this environment where our mission drives our business. Our mission isn't secondary to our business. And so, Rob, tell me a little bit more about being the disruptor that y'all have been. You talked about, the Pepsis and the Fijis and all these huge brand names that going up against giants, really. It's like a David and Goliath situation for us. But y'all have done it really well. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about some of the challenges that you remember facing in the past decade, but also some of those surprising successes, the small ones and the big ones.
Yeah, no, wow. Okay. That's a great setup because it has been just an amazing journey. And yeah, so couple things come to mind right away. I mean, Coke and Pepsi together, they literally have an $8 billion budget annually. $8 billion just to spend on marketing, just to convince you that what you're doing is okay, and make you forget that plastic is bad. And so that's number one, and that's number one when you're taking on an established industry. Number two, which is something you don't think of, when you're taking on an established industry and you don't even think about, so some of these grocery store chains, they had a whole, green friendly environmental project going. And I would say, hey, we'd be great with that. And the buyer would say to me, well, that's great. Somebody at corporate's going to sign a check, but 80% of my profit comes from plastic, and my daughter's college tuition depends on me selling more plastic because by the way, I make more margin and people buy it. So you don't think about the human aspect of a person who gets what you're doing, but unfortunately you're going against a monolith that's been in place for 100 years, and people's livelihoods depend on this. So I guess, and so what we started doing, interestingly, and I guess this is the learning, and it's been exciting. We stopped really pushing the grocery store channel, and realized the light bulb moment was this individual and all the individuals that are thinking this way. They won't start buying us until the consumer starts asking for it. And so what we did is we started doing an end around where we started going to areas where the profits of their product, of their water, wasn't the most important part of their business. So hotels are a great example. Hotels make their money off the room. They don't wait. They make a little bit. Let's say they make 1% of their profit off the actual sale of the water. So we could go to them and say, A, we know you're going after millennials. B, again, with stats, millennials are important. C, wouldn't you want to do this? And D, we'll plant 2 trees if they take pictures of it. So you also have a marketing story immediately, an experience immediately. So we had those layers going, and 5 out of 10 said, yeah, this sounds great. We'll take a chance with you. So sometimes thinking I don't even want to say outside the box, but sometimes thinking extremely untraditionally. You got to get wily when you don't have any money, and that has started to pay off because people then go to the store and say, hey, I had this, or there's a little thing called e-commerce. Come to our website and you can buy it. And so that's been a big aha in the last 3 or 4 years, to realize this isn't a traditional beverage. The second thing I would say is you really have to find like-minded people who care. So same competition as far as it's not their P&L, but like I said before, like AG Jeans, who they're in the business of selling jeans. And they give out water when consumers walk into their stores. Well, they came to us because they said, we believe in sustainability, and we know you're going to cost a little bit more, but it's important to us. And so we said to them, here's the deal. We'll give you, you have 2 million followers. I have no marketing money. Do me a favor. If you, I'll give you as much of a deal I can. You're still going to pay more because it does cost more. But if you can post some of your social media and share with your friends and your community what we are, that would go a long way with me. And they said, frankly, our community would love to know about you. So this is no problem, because our community is obviously sustainability minded. You're like the best kept secret in the beverage industry. So they'll love the fact that we're sharing something with you. And it's been a great relationship. Free People was the same way. Free People came to us and said, handing out a plastic bottle nowadays is like handing somebody a pack of cigarettes. People literally go, whoa. Don't give me that. And so again, the consumers are driving everything that happens. And at the end of the day, I think smart companies are recognizing that. I mean, there's a ton of other brands that I could mention that said no, because they're not listening to their consumers. But smart companies are pivoting, listening to the consumers, and again, many hands make light work. They're helping us spread the message.
Yeah. No, it's really a win-win situation. Honestly, it's a win. It's a win for y'all, and it's a win for them, because not only are they keeping their consumers happy, but they're also aligning their brand ethos with something bigger than themselves and greater than their P&L, like we've been saying. So.
Yeah. I also layer in one little piece, because the other question we ask them is, we don't want to be your little poster child. Our first question is, all right, great, what are you doing? Because it's all about authenticity. I don't want Exxon Oil to come to me and say, hey, we're going to dangle you so we can make more oil. And so we always say, well, what are you doing? And like AG Jeans was cool, because they now recycle their water, and they've cut their water usage in making their jeans by literally 90%. So it's all about,
Oh yeah, you shared that with me. It's a huge number, right?
Yeah, it was like 300,000 gallons a day that they had to use to make their denim, and they got that down to 3,000 gallons.
Wow!
And it's all being recycled. So it's amazing, and frankly, then we all learn what each other is doing, and I can tell their story, like on something like this, and they're somewhere telling my story, and we all learn. It's very, it's very. And obviously, I get excited. It's very exciting having these again, I've been around in this business. I've been around a lot of businesses for 40 years. We never talked like this growing up. So this is cool. Where executives are listening to the consumers and to their own employees. Anyway.
Well, y'all are at the forefront of this movement, and it's an honor to be partners with y'all. If you can leave our viewers today with one thought, Rob, what is your one thought?
Don't buy plastic bottles or aluminum cans. Just say no.
Absolutely. And by the way, for everyone watching, the flavors are awesome. So definitely try these out. The plain water is great. Rob mentioned the taste is incredible. It's so fresh, but the flavors make it even more variety to choose from, and not have to feel any guilt for drinking out of the box.
We are Fiji without the guilt. We are premium water.
Fiji without the guilt. I love that.
But I'll ask you. I'll say one more thing. I'll give you two thoughts. The other one is, literally, if you post a picture of our box and put it on social media with a hashtag that says Better Planet or @BoxedWater, we'll plant 2 trees. We've planted 1 million already. Amazing. We're looking to plant 2 million, totally for free. Trees last for hundreds of years. It'll take you 2 seconds.
Yeah, so that's hashtag Better Planet or hashtag Boxed Water.
@Boxed Water.
@Boxed Water. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. We love what y'all are doing. We're so excited to be alongside y'all, and thank you so much for your time today, Rob. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
Let's do this again sometime.
Yes, let's. Okay. Bye, Rob.